Hello everyone and welcome to Brewed in Barnsley with your host me, Matt McGlone. Each episode I'll be joined by a well-known Barnsley personality to discuss how living here has shaped their lives. On this month's episode we're joined by Sam and Anne Nixon. Welcome to the podcast, guys. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's the first time apparently that you two have been interviewed together.
Yeah.
Ever.
How's this going to go?
Well, we've done interviews together.
Yeah, because Anne used to be a CBBC presenter, and that's how we met, like when we were 19 years old. So we were on CBBC together, maybe like, I think me and Mark used to come on CBBC afternoons to plug what was coming up on our Saturday morning show.
I probably know when it was.
Yeah, probably.
I used to watch you on TV back in the day, both of you actually.
I was the professional, and then these talent competition winners came in to pretend to be presenters. That's how we met.
It's true. That is true.
I am joking. A little bit.
So it's already starting. Your marriage is going to be okay after today, isn't
Let's
it?
hope so, yeah.
We're starting with that early on, a little dig early in. So the podcast is called Brewed in Barnsley. Now, you're not here to talk about brewing and beer or anything like that. It's because really it's about Barnsley people do love a good brew, good cup of tea.
Absolutely.
And it's about how you guys have been sort of brewed by Barnsley, you know, by being here, living here, and your experiences of it. So my first question is, do you like tea? Do you like a cup of tea?
Absolutely, yeah. Love a cup of tea.
Yeah, if you can't make a good cup of tea, you're no good to no one.
Are they? And how do you like it?
Right, I've got quite strong views on tea making.
Okay.
I can't stand the people who leave the tea bag in, put the milk in first, get out my face.
Definitely no.
Get out my face. And but then also when they pour it in, they leave the tea bag in and then they just give you it. They don't trust their own tea making ability.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You need like a colour chart with tea.
You do. I think the colour of tea, in my opinion, the way I like it, should be the colour of He-Man's face.
Okay.
If you look at the old cartoon He-Man, or T-Man, if you will,
T-Man.
that's what it should be. But I think you need the hot water to get the most out of the tea bag. So don't put the milk in first.
No.
What are you doing?
And Sam, that's exactly how I make your tea.
Yeah, I know you do.
Or you just hand it in with the tea bag.
She does. I've seen her making my tea like that, and I'm like, no.
Do you know what you need, Anne? We were just
on.
talking earlier about those hot water taps that you really enjoy that you've seen
Love a good tap.
in this building today.
Yeah.
You love a good tap.
Yeah, I love council taps. They're brilliant.
My problem with those hot water taps, though, when I've never had one, but I've seen them. I've seen them in action. When they break, surely you're in a right old mess when they break. Surely,
Yeah.
because that's all your water coming out at one
I
thing.
won't worry about it, love.
Why? I'm worrying about it.
You better do now. You're going to get one when you get home. You're going to order one by the sounds of it. But let's talk about Barnsley. Let's talk about this wonderful town that you're from, Sam. You were born here. You've grown up here, haven't you?
Yes.
Whereabouts did you grow up?
So I was born and bred in Monkbretton. My mum and dad still live in Monkbretton in the same house that I grew up in.
Right.
And yeah, do you know what? I lived here till I was 17, and then I moved to London for about 9 years. I lived in London. And within that 9 years, I was constantly coming back home, like always. And so much so that when I was 21, I was in a position to want to buy a house, to get onto the mortgage ladder, as you will. And it didn't even cross my mind about buying a house in London. I was renting in London at the time, but I just loved coming home so much. And I always thought Barnsley's always been my home, and I think it probably will end up being my home. So I bought here, and then I was constantly coming back and forth to London, and then we met when we were 19, and when we got engaged when we were 26, it was actually Anne's idea. She was like, I think we should move back home, really, and we did.
And you love it here as well, don't you?
Yeah, and can I add, I'm not from Barnsley, and I decided to move the Barnsley man back to Barnsley.
Do you know what? It's genuinely the best decision we ever made as a couple.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not just saying that, but it was like, for some reason, and times have changed a lot now, but I think especially sort of in the entertainment industry, you just think that you have to be in London.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I've literally done a couple of bits of filming in London since moving here, but it didn't really matter where my base was, because I'd travel where the work was. You know, I've filmed in Glasgow, I've filmed all over the place. So to be home and surrounded by family and friends was great. And the fact that, you know, my fiance at the time wanted to move to Barnsley with me was great because that was lovely for me. It's like we didn't have that argument of like, oh, are we moving to Worksop or are we moving to Barnsley? Anne wanted to come and live here as well. Which is
why
lovely.
were you so keen on moving to Barnsley then?
Well, I think because we used to come here a lot at the weekend, and I got to know a lot of Sam's friends, people who he grew up with, Andy's family, who I've got to say just instantly became my family as well. I think it was just a feeling. I was just like, yeah, this'll do. This is where I'll settle. And I can actually remember sat as a 19-year-old in your mum and dad's house, and we didn't know what the future was going to hold for us. We weren't even engaged at the time. And I just looked at Linda and Dave, Sam's mum and dad, and they were sat in their house, and I thought, oh, I want this. I want that. So, yeah, Barnsley was it, really.
And you found it's a great place then to bring up your family and to...
Oh, absolutely. And do you know what's so lovely? Like, my kids go to the school that I went to when I was at primary school.
That's amazing.
What's so weird today, so today's been my son's sports day, and I was sat next to my old teacher who was there watching her grandkids, which is so surreal. Like, she used to teach me, and now she's picking up her kids and I'm picking my kids up at the same time, her grandkids, sorry. And yeah, it's just lovely. It's such a, I love that it's not a massive place. But especially in the past few years, I really think we're putting ourselves on the map now. Do you know what I mean? It's really it's sort of catching up with the rest of the country, and it's just always just the loveliest people. And like I said, all my friends and family are still here. So it's just nice to be surrounded by them, really. And when literally the day we moved up, my best mate's son was born, who I'm godfather to, and just like things like that, which I would have missed. I wouldn't have been around if I'd have stayed in London. Yeah.
So it's that real home. Yeah, it just feels like home to you, obviously.
Yeah, and also what I really like is we were the first to break the mould, really, in terms of what you were saying about us moving. We were very BBC, weren't we, for years, and all of our friends were presenters, and we were in that circle of friends, and we were one of the first to be brave enough to go, oh, we want to move out of London and go and settle in a town where we want to get married and have kids, but also both still have careers.
Yeah. And at the time, because I was working in a duo with Mark, and he remained in London, because he was with he's married a girl from London, so he was down there, and I was like, and the thing is, I remember speaking to Mark about it. I was like, I'm thinking about moving back home. And he was so supportive. He was so lovely because he knew how much I loved being at home. And he was like, mate, just do it. And like I say, it didn't make any difference. Like, it was nice to have the base that I loved, but then be able to go and travel for work.
Yeah, and you're working now at the Metrodome, aren't you, Anne, as well? You're based...
Well, yeah, I'm Health and Wellbeing Delivery Manager for Barnsley Premier Leisure. Not Barnsley Premier League, as some people refer to it as, which is good, because I don't know out about football. About football. Yeah, so...
Well, we know your sporting knowledge. I don't know, you were just talking to Callum Simpson.
Yes, I was. I know all about rugby now.
You've had...
Yeah, so I've...
You had a photo with him, you don't even know who he is.
No, but my best mate does, so that's fine. I work for BPL, and that's been amazing, really, because through my work for them, I've just met so many people in our community, and healthcare professionals, volunteers. Basically, my job is travelling around Barnsley and connecting people and discovering what people are doing and what the passions are. And I could not ever imagine doing that anywhere else now.
Yeah, and the changes to the town centre and the town in general. Then I mean, you must think, being away in London for so long, and now you've come back, you've been here for the last few years, thinking, what has happened to this
we've
town?
watched it change,
so much has
haven't we?
Yeah.
Dramatic, just things like the library.
Yeah.
When our eldest daughter, who's nearly 10 now, when she was born, that old little library in the middle of town absolutely was sanctuary to me and all my mummy friends. And now look at it at the light box and how that's grown and the resources you have now. It's phenomenal, really.
And the events that are put on. I know, Sam, you were involved in the food festival a couple of years ago. I mean, how was that? And to have an event like that in
just brilliant. Perfect thing for me. I love my cooking. I love my food, and I've started doing more sort of content and stuff, creating food content on social media and stuff like that. So the fact that there was an actual food festival in my hometown, I mean, it was just brilliant. It was like, oh my God. just get me on that, please. And it was great, and the atmosphere was amazing. We had a lovely weather, and it was just great just to see the town centre thriving. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about the food stuff then as well, because you, people will know you from Pop Idol. Can I just say, actually, I'm very glad I've got a second chance to meet you.
Oh, yeah.
We met once at a launch of Cineworld last year in the Glassworks, and I was like, I'm going to take a photo with Sam. Perfect gentleman you were. You said, yes, I'll happy to have a selfie with you. And I went, this is for me mum. And your face just went, thanks. And I was like, no, honestly, I like you as well. I watched you growing up on CBBC, and honestly, I wanted you to win Pop Idol, but yes. So yeah, I'll just pretend that never happened.
Okay, no,
I know I've just brought it up again.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's nice to meet you again for a second time and a proper time. But where was I? What was I talking about before? There we go. Food.
Yes.
So before, everyone knows you from Pop Idol. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But food was your kind of passion. You did catering, didn't you, at Barnsley College before?
Yeah. So when I left school, I went to Barnsley College and I enrolled in an NVQ. Catering and hospitality course because I wanted to be a chef. I got the bug. I think lots of, especially blokes of my generation, kind of Jamie Oliver changed everything. Right. You know, I was 15 when The Naked Chef came out on telly, and it just changed everything. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after school, and that was the time when you start to think about what you're going to do. And this young 23-year-old lad came on telly and made cooking look cool, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I'd enrolled on my catering and hospitality course, and in between leaving school and starting college, I'd auditioned for Pop Idol. And I'd kind of not told anybody that I'd done it. I've told my closest friends and obviously my family, but anybody I was at college with, I'd not really mentioned it because I didn't know how far I was going to get. And then I'd done my whole first year whilst auditioning of college, and then I think I'd started my second week of started my first week of the second year of college. Mm-hmm. It was a 3-year course. Yeah. But then I'd got further in the competition and kind of literally overnight had to move to London. And that was kind of it. Wow. I was just in London then for like 9 years.
Yeah, that is a big lifestyle change. But now you maybe then decided now as you're trying to get back into the food passion. So I've seen some of your Instagram posts. The recipes look amazing. Are they as good as they look? You must eat them.
Yes.
Well, on that... Before this job I was a healthy lifestyle advisor for a couple of years, and I would literally spend 8 hours telling people how to eat well, go home, and Sam's like, yeah, love, I fried this croissant in some butter and covered it in caramel sauce, get that down the neck. So yeah, I do taste some of his food. If I ate all of the food that he cooked for Instagram, I don't think my heart would be as healthy. But he spreads it out. You do a good mixture, don't you?
Yeah, no, of course.
You'll do something a bit indulgent and like posh pub grub, as I like to call it. But then you'll like rock out a 10 a day Caesar salad.
Well, 10 a day.
Yeah. You know, like your 5 a day, but you like put 10 portions.
That's so you don't have to do it the next day.
Yeah,
exactly.
it.
There you go. There you go.
So
It
you
covers
do.
you then. Exactly.
I do like the balance in your food because you don't know this, right? But I get asked so much at work about your food. But then also, I think everyone's telepathic because I'll be leaving, say, the Metrodome. I'll be like, see you later, Carrie. She'll be like, enjoy your lasagna.
Well, she knows already.
And I'm not on social media, so I don't know what you're putting out. I don't see his content.
Are you disappointed if you get home and it's not that? It's
That's happened.
Yeah.
That has happened. That has genuinely happened before.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So where's my lasagna, Sam? All right.
Yeah, I got
just
one.
a ready meal.
Often he's giving it to Mick and Janet next door. True story. To the point now where when he knocks on the door, because we obviously can't eat all the food all the time, he'll knock on the door and give him a cheesecake and he'll just be like, cheers, Sam. Like it's just a regular thing. He expects it now.
That is true, yeah.
Doesn't he, Mick?
It does, bless him.
It sounds like I'd like to live next door to you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So cooking was the kind of passion, but then Pop Idol came along. You got further maybe than even you expected at the time. Was singing always something you thought you'd like to do, or was it the TV presenting side of things?
The TV presenting, it happened by complete mistake, really. But no, when I entered Pop Idol, I wanted to be a singer. I really did. Like when I was at school, I was in a band and I loved it. I focused so much time on that band and I loved it. And we'd do gigs outside of school and stuff like that. So then when I entered Pop Idol, I came third, which I couldn't believe. It was like, oh my goodness, this could be a career now. But I'll be totally honest. I think, and me and Mark, we've always talked about this truthfully since, like, so me and Mark were both on Pop Idol separately, and Mark came second, I came third, and then on the night of the final, we got asked if we wanted to be put together as a duo. And even though I was 17 at the time, I kind of knew that it wouldn't work musically as a duo. Because we were very different. I was kind of a bit sort of poppy, rocky, and Mark was a bit more sort of like a crooner type singer. And even though we got on so well, like our personalities were just perfect together, and we had a laugh with each other. Musically, I always knew it wouldn't work. So I think at the time, when I got asked to be in a duo with Mark, I got asked in the same room that he was in. He'd just been asked.
Right.
And he was like, Mark would say yes to anything, bless him. And he was like, yes. And I got asked, and because Mark was there, I said yes. But I have said to him,
but you didn't want
openly. Well, this is the thing. It's true. It's true. Like, and
It is an exclusive.
I've said this. We've said this to each other openly since. I think if I'd have been asked on my own, I probably would have said no. So I'm so glad I was asked in that room, because I don't think I'd have been around doing anything.
I suppose, it's a bit of fate, that.
And it absolutely is. But I was kind of proven right in a sort of way. Musically, we didn't work. We had a number one single, which was great.
With a Little Help from My Friends was a great song.
It's a banger.
The cover was great.
It's a banger.
Yeah, he got his.
Oh yeah, there's some cooking in that video actually.
I'm going to go and watch that.
He showed off his Barnsley College knife skills in that.
I did, yeah. I did, true. But yeah, I like. We did a second single then, and I didn't like our second single at all. I weren't happy with it. I was like, oh, this is rubbish. And it was hard, because when you've been on a show like Pop Idol and everybody's got behind you, and I've always been very, especially when it comes to music, I like to pick the music that I love and that I enjoy singing, and that I hope people would respect. And that's what I did on Pop Idol. Like, With a Little Help from My Friends is a perfect example. When I got to Beatles Week in Pop Idol, I said to myself, I'm going to sing With a Little Help from My Friends, but I'm going to do Joe Cocker's version, because it's rockier, it's a bit more cooler. And I did that. So then when we got asked to release this slightly cheesier version of With a Little Help from My Friends, I was
Poppy
like,
one, yeah.
oh, what? Do you know what I mean? And it's hard, because I don't want to sound ungrateful. I had a number one single, it was amazing. But musically, I was a bit like frustrated. And then in between kind of releasing singles, we'd always go on kind of kids' Saturday morning TV shows to plug our singles. Yeah. And whenever we went on those shows, we would always really take part. We would like not act cool. We'd take part in the sketches. We'd stick around as long as we possibly could. And there was one particular show called Top of the Pops Saturday, which Fern Cotton presented. And every time we went on that show, we'd just get involved. And Fern was going away on holiday for 2 weeks, and she and the producer wanted me and Mark to fill in. They said, I think you two would be perfect to fill in for me whilst we're away. And we were like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So we did it. Fern came back. They kept us on. And that was kind of it. That was like presenting just took off then. And at the time, I was still a bit like, I want to do some music. So I started writing songs and stuff for myself, really. But as we went on and we started doing more shows that we just loved, it was like, oh, hang on, there's something in this here. Yeah. And I'm so glad. Yeah. Like, because I genuinely think I would have probably said, no, I'd like to be a solo artist if I'd been asked on my own.
Not only then has it helped your career, you've actually met your wife.
Yeah.
Doing that as well. It is
that sort of sliding doors moment. And it is a little bit scary when you think back, because I've always been quite stubborn. Yeah. And like, I've always been quite like, I know what I want. Yeah. And to think that I would have probably gone, no, I'll not be in this duo, would have been disastrous, really.
So you've obviously now you've met each other. We're at this point in the story, and you've obviously got engaged, married back to Barnsley.
Oh, before that, though,
go on.
We were meeting in the Blue Peter Garden for a cheeky kiss in between
takes.
That's true, that's what we used to do.
See, we never knew that.
Graham Norton was picking up his dog's poo.
Yeah. BBC back then.
Yeah. Well, basically, the Blue Peter Garden was the only green space in what was called the Donut Television Centre. So the celebrities that had dogs and had dogs on set, if ever they had to take them out, it was the Blue Peter Garden. So, yeah. True. Oh, it was very glamorous.
Very romantic place.
But what I say, when you were on about how you wanted to write songs and then you and Mark start presenting, I know at the top I was doing a cheeky dig and it was a joke, but I remember, I'd been presenting for a few years and I was on the studio floor. And when you and Mark came on, I do remember just being, there was just this energy that you both had. And I remember even up crew and us as presenters, we were just like, they've got it. I remember thinking that.
No.
That's your compliment.
Thanks,
there. I
man.
don't have
There
to
you go,
give you
you've
any
valid.
more for
Thank you.
next 10 years.
He's going to cook you a nice lasagna now. It's that or a ready meal. But now, yeah, he's going to cook you a nice meal. So why did you change your career then, Anne, as well, from the TV presenter?
Well, I lost my job, so that was decided for me, really. They were having a rebrand at CBBC. So then I went into journalism. And I worked for Al Gore's TV company called Current TV, and that was in Tottenham Court Road. I did that for a bit. Then we got shut down. I got made redundant. Did a bit of modelling, a bit of acting, and I just thought, this isn't for me. Went into veterinary nursing. So I trained as a surgical veterinary nurse in London, got a transfer to Morley in Leeds when we moved to Barnsley. Then I left that, went into like the railway. I used to put detonators down on railway line. Then I went and sold shoes.
This is a crazy
And
career.
then,
Honestly, it's like a sitcom.
And then I went into fitness and was going down that whole PT route. Look, exercise can really help with postnatal depression, and having experienced a little bit of that myself. So that sort of was the catalyst for me to go into health and well-being. And then, I'd sort of found my family really at BPL, who sort of adopted me. I always feel like they adopted me. And then, I've just moved into health and well-being as a whole.
Yeah. No,
Just because I
fantastic.
love a chat and I love travelling around and meeting people. And
I remember we chatted last year for another video that we did, and you were just so sort of passionate about the people that come in as
I
well.
am. Yeah, and I don't want to play that down either, because I genuinely I feel really proud to live in Barnsley, and the work that I do, what drives me and what gets me up every day is I'm not on my own. You've got a town full of people that are doing just the best they can, and what budgets they've got, what time, what resources they've got, purely for the benefit of the community. And I've not seen that anywhere else. I've not seen it anywhere else. It's very unique, Barnsley. I think once it gets you, it's got you for life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? Do you know what I mean by that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, he's come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
mean, we couldn't keep you away.
Yeah.
It's true. It's such a warm, lovely place,
Yeah,
and I
it
don't know if
is,
it's
yeah.
because I grew up here, but Anne's proven it. Anne didn't grow
I'm
up
not
here,
from
and
here, yeah.
she treats it as her own now. We're bringing up our kids here, and it's
And do you go out in Barnsley? I mean, across the borough, the town centre? do you
Oh,
go to
yeah, I
places
was
to
at a
eat?
bottomless
Do you-
brunch on
you?
on Saturday at the Poorhouse.
Can you
That
remember
was
it?
Brilliant. Yeah, well, I don't drink.
Ah, right.
And on
she's
that,
really thirsty.
yeah,
All
provision
the time.
of, I had a Pinot Colada
Peanut colada.
and I had a nap on the beach.
That's a great name
Oh.
for a mocktail.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, Poorhouse is fantastic.
yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, and as a you've obviously got a family now as well. You must go do go around the borough to a place like Elsica and Cannon Hall. I don't know.
Yeah, we do. We've done all that. I think it's a bit of a rule, really. You have to do that as a parent in Barnsley. But yeah, and then like Lock Park as well. We love
Oh,
Lock Park.
stunning.
Just
Yeah.
we went there the other week actually with a group of friends, and thankfully the weather was nice, and we just rocked up, had a bit of a picnic, and all the mates that I grew up with at school have now all got kids, and to see all our kids playing together in the park that we used to play in and stuff like that is such a lovely thing.
And there's like undiscovered places in Barnsley as well, that like that hill. What's that? You know that hill that we once...
Arbor Hill.
That's very
That hill.
Everybody knows that
No,
one.
there's one in Monkbretton, and so there's like, you can see like oil mill at the bottom of it. So it's where the old pit is, and you go up the top and you can just see all
Oh,
of,
right,
like,
yeah.
Monkbretton. Like once we just went for a walk up there and just sat up there, didn't we? Well before we were engaged, I think. And there's some really lovely
Is this like a
spots.
countryside hill, not just like a road? You don't
No,
just sit
no,
at the
no.
top of that.
No, is it the old Slaggy?
Oh, right.
I don't know,
I
but
know.
it's like, it's just that big hill at Monkbretton. Everyone go to the big hill at Monkbretton. It's lovely views of all these gorgeous places you've got, and I'm talking about a Slaggy.
I was going to say, did you go on I mean, obviously your first date, I'm guessing, wasn't in Barnsley, but when you brought Anne back, where did you take her in Barnsley? Where was the first
I think
Anne
I remember.
experience?
I remember a night out. You came to Barnsley one night when I think it was the first night you met all my mates. I remember it was the Ice Bar at the time. Do you remember the Ice
right,
Bar?
okay.
Well, I don't know what it is now. But it's I forgot what it's called now. I don't know what it's called. It might be Soul Lounge now, maybe.
Oh, on the court near Shambles Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think that's gone through so many name changes.
Yeah, oh mate, yeah. So back then it was called the Ice Bar because I remember it when I'd left school and we started going out. We'd go in the Ice Bar at 10 o'clock at night because it was 2 for 1, and literally no one would go to the bar until it hit 10 o'clock. But I remember going there, you being in that bar, and then just the usual. We'd always do the same pubs in Barnsley.
Yeah.
We'd usually start off at somewhere like Esmeralda's, then it'd be to the Ice Bar.
At 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, obviously, and don't go to the bar until 10 o'clock. And then you'd end up on Wellington Street.
Yeah.
And now you'd add Joseph Brammers into that mix as well. But it was always the kind of same sort of things, and that's the route that we took Anne on when she first came to Barnsley.
And that impressed you enough.
Can't remember any of it.
Oh, there you go. That's it, yeah. Yeah, you're impressed by him. Said, well, it's 9:55, but we can't go to this bar yet. Give us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 2 for 1 in a minute.
Yeah, trust me.
But would we do that? Well, we would still do that now, wouldn't we?
No, probably not.
No. By 10 o'clock, we are quite tired, aren't we?
Yeah, I like. If ever I go out now, I like
Day
to go out on a
drinking.
day afternoon, an afternoon thing, because you can go out, you can have a few beers.
We're
with
not
friends.
advocating drinking.
We're not advocating. No,
Well, I
obviously
do,
not. You don't
I'm
drink,
promoting non-alcoholic
Yeah, of course.
beverages.
Yeah, absolutely. But I enjoy going out and seeing your friends, having a few drinks, but then still being at home for like tea time, so you can just get settled down at night. That's
We're
how my
so
life's
old
changed.
now.
Well, I'm early 30s and I'm reaching that point.
Genuinely, last night, this is God's honest truth, right? Last night, I was sat in bed sewing while Sam was snoring, and the last thing I said to him was, "Oh, Sam, I think I've planted my cauliflowers too far apart." That's true.
I don't know where to go with that. Should we just end there?
No, I need to tell you how Sam's brother makes his tea.
Please, go for it.
Oh.
Pint pot, 6 tea
Pint
bags,
pot?
and you have to hold it from the bottom. Don't try this at home.
16?
Six tea bags in a pint
It was
pot.
16. I was like, that's incredible.
The
6 is
first
enough.
time I met Sam's brother, that's what I watched him do. And I was like, this is the family I'm marrying into.
Surely that's boiling hot.
Yeah, but you hold it from
He holds it
bottom.
from bottom.
Honestly, I mean, I'm going to say that's a proper brew, but it's not, is it? But
No.
six tea bags sounds
Yeah.
like a proper brew, but
Yeah.
not in a pint glass.
Bit insane, to be fair.
That's,
I had to share that with you if we're talking about how Barnsley folk make the tea.
yeah, I don't know. I'm going to
I
start
don't think
asking
Barnsley
for-
folk do. That's just my brother.
Yeah,
It's his tea line.
I'm going to start asking for weird tea stories.
You
now.
should do.
We've had nothing like that on any podcast.
There
I
you
don't
go.
think.
There you go.
6 tea bags in a pint. And cauliflower. I don't know where to go with this now.
I'd just leave it.
Should we just
Let's be safe.
So, what are you up to now then, Sam?
So I'm still presenting. I'm doing a lot of radio now, which is really nice. I did radio. Me and Mark did radio for years down in the Midlands. We used to do a Sunday morning show, and then we stopped doing it. And I always missed radio. And then last year I had the opportunity to go and do some work at BBC Radio Leeds and BBC Radio Sheffield. And I'm basically their cover presenter really, which is really lovely. And it's nice to kind of go in and just chat really like what we're doing now and play some good music, and I'm really enjoying that. I host the Mass Singer Live down at Butlins, which is nice, a really lovely gig to do, which I really enjoy doing. And yeah, the cooking thing has just been great really. Ever since doing Celebrity MasterChef, I've kind of posted recipes online, and then in the past year or so I've really sort of pushed it, and it's great. It's a really nice thing to do because I just genuinely love cooking, and then when you see people sort of cooking my recipes and things like that, it's lovely.
Yeah.
So the dream is to do a book. That's my absolute dream at the minute, is I would love to do a cookbook.
Right.
So that's my thing that I'd really love to do.
We'll keep an eye out for that for sure.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
And do you both see your future then very much in Barnsley and like forever now? Is this this where you're settled?
Yeah, even like our house, we never talk about moving. Ever really. I mean, never say never, but like we literally love where we live. We love our neighbours. Can't imagine moving.
They don't want you to move because they keep getting cheesecake.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, absolutely, without doubt, I can't ever see us. I often get scared sometimes, like because of the job that I'm in. You know, like there could be a job that takes you away, like for a bit, and I'm always like scared of that happening because obviously it'd be amazing if it was the right thing, but at the same time, I won't ever want to leave home.
No, and I think with the kids now as well, if that ever happened, I'd get to stay.
Yeah,
I'd
but I think
stay
we
with
would.
the kids, and
Yeah.
and you just have to do,
Yeah. Like I say, I weren't joking when I said it. It was literally the best decision we ever made was moving back to Barnsley. The thought of moving away again ever, I just don't think it had happened, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, which brings me on to something else, actually. I'm thinking about sort of young people growing up in Barnsley now who think, maybe creatives who are musicians or chefs even, or do they think, do you feel that they think they need to move away to become something, or should they stay here?
Yeah, well, I mean, my opinion on it is just follow your nose with it. Don't let your job become your identity, really, which I think is really hard to do these days. But if you've got you'll know, if you've got a zest and a thirst to go travelling and live in different places, go and do it while you feel like that. But don't ever think whilst you're away from home, if you're feeling really homesick and you're missing somewhere where you really want to be, don't ever think that you can't do that because it's going to affect your professional career. Because actually, the happier and more content you are where your roots are, the more you'll excel in your career anyway, and the better you'll be at whatever talent it is that you've got.
That is, true, and that is exactly what I think I felt, really. Like being back home, surrounded by friends and family. Because I've always loved my job, but it was nice, but I never felt at home in London at all, me personally. So it was nice to feel grounded and rooted at home here in Barnsley, but then be able to travel and do work. But like Anne said as well, I think now, especially if you want to work in media and things like that, there's Leeds now that are doing more things with media, and there's Manchester and stuff like that, and of course there's London. It doesn't take that long to get to London. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's so important. But I think you do get this with age. I think as you get older, you kind of realise what you want more out of life. And I definitely wanted to kind of have a lovely home, family life, to be able to have that as my base. And then when you go off and you're doing your work, wherever it is you're working, you do that, but you always come home to this lovely, secure, safe place.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt as well that, it is true what they say, that travel does broaden the mind, and it is great to get out there and see the world, because that's what then makes you realise what you want out of life.
Well, you've both gone on crazy career journeys, I think. I mean,
and especially.
Sam's is quite interesting, but yours has gone through a very wide range of jobs. So, I suppose it's that end goal, isn't it? You want that family life, that to settle down.
Yeah, and not worrying about it.
Yeah.
I think everybody now is, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? Sometimes you don't know, and that's okay.
Just enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think
not know what you want.
Yeah, and then anybody in their life that, and again, you don't really start to realise this until you get older, but you've just got to pick the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if you like living at home, but you enjoy working away, then try and get that balance. You know what I mean? But if you're not happy where you live and you want to move, then do it. You know what I mean? You've really got to find what makes you happy and what makes you smile and what makes you content. It's not always going to be that way. There'll be still times when you get a bit frustrated and you go, should I be doing something else? But I think if you can get to the root of your happiness, which I think ours was kind of moving back home.
Yeah.
And
well, maybe it's not just home; it's just Barnsley, isn't it? We
yeah,
should get people
absolutely.
to just move to Barnsley.
Get everybody to just move to Barnsley, and your life will be brilliant.
Brilliant Barnsley, the home of Big Brave Bill.
But it will. It's a fantastic place to live now, isn't it? And there's so much going on all the time. I know you're involved with some awards at the college as well. Sue.
Yeah, the Young Champion Awards.
Yeah.
And just again, stuff like being asked to do stuff like that is lovely, and it's a privilege. You know what I mean? To be able to see what the next generation have been doing. It's great. And again, that's at the Metrodome. It's just up the road. It's a really lovely thing. And it is. Barnsley's it's getting so good now. There's some great places to eat. There's some great places to visit. And I'm very, very, as I always have been, very proud of it. I was proud of it before it's had all this money put into it. But even more so now.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. We got through the interview without any sort of marital issues.
Truth.
Yeah.
You made up for it later on. That's fantastic. Really, want to thank you for joining us. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.